the light breaks. It's the sun making its slow and measured approach above the horizon. Like many of us, emerging beyond the white curtain. We sing, like Langston Hughes once wrote in the singular, I too sing America. We play without the masks that Dunbar scripted so long ago. And we compose the music that must be, is being heard with ears that would not hear before. We are departing the kitchen of the darker brother. This is the tomorrow, and the table is set. Welcome to Classical Music in Color. I'm Judlin Gibson. We have an update on Ralph Yarl. He's the 16-year-old clarinetist who was shot twice by a white man in Kansas City, Missouri, after knocking on the wrong door. Kurtis-Stewart examines grief in his new album, Of Love. It's dedicated to his mother, who died 2 years ago. There are a few performances coming up in New York and other places that sound really juicy. And of course, there's at least one competition you might want to enter. Surely you've heard about Ralph Yarl and the shooting that nearly killed him. According to his family, Yarl is doing well but has a long recovery ahead. A GoFundMe page has already raised over $3 million, which will go a long way to pay for his extensive medical expenses. The 16-year-old clarinetist was shot twice by a white man in Kansas City, Missouri. Yarl was picking up his twin brothers, but accidentally went to the wrong house. The wrong house in so many ways. It's not clear when he'll get back to the music he loves. It would be more than a shame if he couldn't, especially considering his achievements in music. Ralph Yarl is a second chair in the Missouri All-State Band with an honorable mention. He is also a section leader in his school marching band. He plays multiple instruments in the Northland Symphony Youth Orchestra and performs as part of his school's jazz and competition band. If you'd like to donate to his GoFundMe page or otherwise offer support, there's a link on the Classical Music in Color page on secondstreetdreams.com. Coming up next, remembering your mother. Mother's Day has passed for now. That doesn't mean we don't think of our mothers during the rest of the year, especially if they've gone on to the next place. Composer Kurtis-Stewart chose to remember his mother with an album of new music. He calls it Of Love, in honor of her, violinist Electra Kurtis-Stewart. She died of brain cancer on September 7th, 2021, at the age of 66. Just months before she died, I spoke to him about his then latest album, Of Power, which was inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, and in many ways by both of his parents.
Both of my parents are musicians. My dad plays jazz tuba. He's played with people like Dizzy Gillespie and Sonny Rollins and Chick Corea, all the people. He's toured around the world with them. My mom is a violinist who grew up in Poland. She's Greek, so she was like hanging out with like Greek gypsies. There's one piece on the album that's written by her based on a traditional Greek folk song called Mangas. So all my music kind of, I've played in bands with both of my parents separately, and all my music kind of comes from that.
His Of Power album was composed during the pandemic while he was tending to his mother.
You know, it's been rough as it's been for everybody. My main anxiety was with my mom, who is, very, very, I'm her caretaker, and so she's very at risk in terms of health. And at one point, it's funny, at one point I was going to her house almost every day. I would have to bike from northern Manhattan to about the Upper West Side area because I didn't want to take the train, I didn't want to take a car, I don't drive. And so I was biking every day to sleep over there to make sure she was okay at night. And then I would come back. And recently we got 24-hour care, which is really good. But it's funny, I got a lot of my best work done while I was laying there awake at her house worrying about everything. I got my best work done during those times, and a lot of the music was written while I was in the house. and it kind of refers. I hope that the story. There is no real story. It's not like a linear story, but just the kind of confessional that's happening
Right.
is open ended enough for people to put their own stories into it to relate to.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of what I'm writing about is referring to my situation with her.
With this album, Of Love, Curtis speaks of his grief. He talks about moving into her apartment with all the memories therein. Here is the full piece from Of Love. It's called Drift to Wake.
Hello. Hey to this heaviness. Hello to this weight. I see you here now. You look good in this place. Walk into the building, say hello to the guard. Try to fight this feeling, say hello to that part. Constant hello, never goodbye. As hard as I try, the truth cannot lie. Hello to this heaviness, hello to this weight. A hero of headiness. Stay away from the bait, the distraction, the actions that pull me away from reality, from reminder of pain. Walk into the apartment, that's where she would sit. Remodeled, restarted, but here she still is. And that still exists. Love remains to give. See it the wrong way, and wrong way it hits. Mind folds and twists because heart is weak, but mental tweak is what heart insists. She will be here always, better or worse. The shadow is no cloud, doesn't come with fits or bursts, but lingers, hangs out, chillin'. Bottom of the bay until that day when sun's ray comes to play, except maybe I won't even know how to see it that way. I won't even know how to see it that way. Walk into the room, that's where she lay. I held her hand too, way past the time frame. I held her hand, it remained warm. I held her hand as her soul transformed. Hello to this heaviness. Hello to this weight. I see you here now. You look good in this place. Hello. Hello to this weight. Walk into the building, say hello to the guard. Try to fight this feeling, say hello to that part. Constant hello, never goodbye. The truth cannot lie, hello. Walk into the apartment, that's where she would sit. Remodeled, restarted, but here she still is. See it the wrong way, and wrong way it hits. The shadow is no cloud, doesn't come with fits or bursts, but lingers, hangs out, chillin', bottom of the bay until that day when sun's ray comes to play, except maybe I won't even know how to see it that way. I won't even know how to see it that way. Walk into the room, that's where she lay. I held her hand too, way past the time frame. I held her hand, it remained warm. I held her hand as her soul transformed. Hello to this heaviness. Hello to this weight. I see you here now. You look good in this place.
Drift to Wake from the album Of Love, composed by a grieving Kurtis-Stewart. It was recorded in his mother's apartment. If you're in New York, you might be interested in attending a concert reading of She Who Dared. It was composed and written by Jasmine Barnes and Deborah Deep Mouton. It's part of Insight ALT from the American Lyric Theater. She Who Dared puts the spotlight on courageous women whose names were, until now, lost to history. These are the women who took action after Rosa Parks refused to move to the back of the bus in 1955. They helped keep the pressure on the city of Montgomery, Alabama, to desegregate the bus system during the year-long boycott. It'll be performed on May 31st and June 2nd at the Miller Recital Hall, Manhattan School of Music. Also in New York, on June 9th, the Harlem Chamber Players presents Harlem Song Fest 2. The program features arias and spirituals by Black composers, as well as arias from the European canon. Damian Sneed is conducting. Kenneth Overton and Jasmine Mohammed are among the performers. It's at the Miller Theater at Columbia University on June 9th. Links to all are on the Classical Music and Color page on secondstreetdreams.com. The Dallas Symphony is looking for applicants for its first Diversity Fellowship program. They're looking for up to 3 pre-professional musicians from traditionally underrepresented backgrounds. The fellowship comes with performance opportunities, education, and mentorship. They're also paying the fellows for 25 weeks of orchestral performances, mock auditions, master classes, private lessons, teaching, and chamber music. The deadline to apply is coming up quick, May 19th. The 5th annual Afros and Audio Podcast Festival is October 21st and 22nd in Baltimore. They're calling now for speaker submissions. If you'd like to speak or know someone who'd be good for the festival, submit the names through the month of July. The Apollo Theater is looking for summer interns for its Apollo Education Technical Stage Production Internship. You must be a rising high school senior living in one of New York's 5 boroughs. It's a paid internship that starts July 5th and ends August 11th. The deadline to apply is May 29th. Then there's the Lewis Prize for Music. This is for organizations investing in music programs for young people. They're currently accepting applications for its 5th annual Accelerator Awards. They're looking for organizations with programs that teach their young churches how to create and perform in ways that reflect their culture and identity. The Lewis Prize for Music will give multi-year awards of $500,000 to selected organizations in January of 2024. The deadline to apply is Friday, June 2nd. Links to all are on the Classical Music and Color page on secondstreetdreams.com. Our coda this month is an appreciation for soprano Grace Bumbry. This is her performance of Vici d'arte, or I Lived for Art, from Puccini's Tosca. She died last week at the age of 86 in her European home of Vienna. Her career spanned 40-plus years. And many prestigious opera houses in Europe and in the U.S. She was championed by contralto Marian Anderson and launched her career in Europe in the years after Anderson, Leontine Price, and other black singers had begun to break down opera's color barrier. Here are just a few of her accomplishments. She was denied entry into her hometown music conservatory in St. Louis, but made international headlines in 1961 when she became the first African-American to perform at the Bayreuth Festival in Germany. This is the one dedicated to the works of Richard Wagner. Miss Bumbry received scholarships to study at Boston University and at Northwestern, immersing herself in the study of music, drama, and languages. German-born soprano Lotte Lehmann was her teacher and eventually her mentor. She became known as the Black Venus after receiving 42 curtain calls, which took 30 minutes, for her performance in the opera Tannhäuser. Her debut at the Paris Opera in 1960 in Aida was at the insistence of then First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy. She then invited the soprano to perform at a White House state dinner. Grace Bumbry retired in 1997, but remained active as a concert performer and teacher. She founded the Grace Bumbry Black Musical Heritage Ensemble, which specializes in spirituals and gospel music, and she received the Kennedy Center Honor in 2009. Grace Bumbry was 86 years old. We thank her and others like her for helping us emerge beyond the white curtain. And thank you for listening to the May 2023 edition of Classical Music in Color. Links are on secondstreetdreams.com. We are the Second Street Dreams Audio Network. I'm Judelyn Gibson.